Welcome, welcome. Welcome back to another wonderful Friday here with yours truly, Red Rooster Guerilla here, bringing you all the topics you want to hear about. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you like what you're getting here. It helps me grow this channel, lets me know how I can make things better, and truly lets me know what you're thinking out there. So go ahead, again, hit that like, share, subscribe, all the good YouTube stuff. We got a great show for you guys coming up here. But first, no words from our sponsor. Actually, hold on just a moment. A word from not our sponsor. We're diving into some Second Amendment bourbon here, straight from the heart of bourbon land, Kentucky, my favorite bourbon state of the entire Union. Kentucky, right here in a bottle. And one of my favorite amendments of all the amendments that are there. So, Second Amendment whiskey, shout out to you for keeping America free and sane or insane. Great show coming up today, guys. And welcome back to the last show of 2025. We had a great run. We covered everything from robots, drones, and secret surveillance on your cell phones to you name it. I'm starting to cover all the local training here as best as I can, diving into some really interesting things here. But don't forget, again, if you like what you're getting here, help me grow this channel. Make comments below. Let me know what topics that you want to hear more about, or if there's anything that I'm covering that you want to hear less of or more of. I don't know. Just let me know how I'm doing. It's always helpful. But we got a lot planned for 2026. I'm going regional, baby. Bigger, better, badder. We're going to be covering all the things that are out there across the United States. Hopefully soon here, starting in the Southwest. But we got a lot of great things going on in the country out there. And I think you're going to want to pay attention to some of the stuff I'll be covering in the next year. Christmas is coming up, so you get those Black Friday specials now if you can. There's a lot of things out there for all the gun guys, all the tactical fellas out there. There's plenty of things to get on, even on Amazon. Or if you want to really shell out some dough, Cry Precision, those G3s, they're still out there for about $300. All right, one of the things I've been waiting to cover with you guys since, I think, October was this recon and hostage rescue course taught up in Utah, up in Barrel, by Brave Lizard in partnership with Frontline Preparedness. This course did not disappoint. One of the highlights was really all the nighttime stuff and all the daytime planning with the land nav to all the phases of a thing, of a mission, of an operation, whatever the cool kids want to call it these days. But just going from the cradle to grave on a full mission plan was basically what we ended up doing for the past 3 days. We started out with overview of, and this is one of the coolest things I think I've seen so far with training, is these folks are actually pushing out learning modules. So for my Navy or Marine or Army folks out there who had to do online training, this is that. But it's a little different, I think, when you're paying for it. You know you're only going to get a few days to really cover the gamut on training. So I dove in, I took them all. I had a blast doing it. So weird. I think you would find that same enthusiasm for all the cyber awareness challenges that are out there for 2026. Get it done. All right, don't disappoint Jeff. I thought that was helpful and useful for going into the course. So there wasn't a whole lot of questions being asked that weren't covered in the modules leading up to the class. And that's helpful because you got a lot of folks standing around, and if you got one guy that's like, I don't know what's going on, then we all have to kind of wait for the instructors to kind of catch them up. But this wasn't the case here, all due in part for your, preparation leading up to the class. So not only do they provide you with the full, basically a warno, they give you the whole minimum equipment list, the expectations, things that, the times that things start. It was good. It's well organized, and they have the right instructors doing the things that either have done the things or still doing the things that are out, out there now. So that experience was very beneficial to the folks to help build context as to why things are done and why the certain patrolling techniques are covered. But yeah, it was a great time. We did everything from, like I said, the land nav portion, which was very good and very fun to do. So if you folks are weak on land nav, highly suggest you get up to speed on land nav. That part is probably the number one thing you're going to need in any of this cool guy stuff, is learning how to get to where you're going. And not only that, can you plan it out? And I was looking at it from the perspective of how can I use this in some of my own daily or routine use of ATAC or radio-based training that I do here in San Diego. And a lot of that was there. And I'm hoping to see where more application with ATAC and radio-based, using mesh plugins, for instance, or MPU5s for those folks who have the money to spend on good networking MANET radios. I see an opportunity and potential for, understanding how to connect jointly with larger things that are out there, larger operations that are out there, and how to implement that at a unit level. So I was coming at it from that perspective, and don't get me wrong, it's 3 days, so there's courses in the military that last 12 to 30 days on some of the topics we were covering in 3 days. So I looked at this more or less as an exposure to the recon efforts and some of the lessons learned from, for instance, global war and terror and all the things that stem, from the MAXOG v Vietnam era and before that you see in recon and patrolling techniques and advanced tactics like that. So if you're not in the books on that, highly recommend getting smart up and up to speed on some of that stuff. Now, this is a great opportunity to work with others in a team-based environment, so you're not just there by yourself shooting cardboard or pretending to do missions. You're actually running a full mission profile from the planning process all the way to assigning reconnaissance assets over a large geographical landscape. So it was very informative in that regard, and I had a blast doing it. I was covered head to toe in sand on the last night because we got to our sniper position, or a recon's position rather. I was assigned a sniper role, but yeah, we were assigned to our position. But this was like it. I don't know if you guys have ever been to southern Utah, but the sand out there can be very silty, very soft, almost like baking powder, flour. It was moon dust. When we got to the final position, it was fun to kind of just be covered in sand everywhere. But all that to say is, they did a really good job facilitating the goals for this course and objectives. And like I said, having the experienced people there to run you through there gave you enough context to understand the whys. And I think that's one of the more important things when you're going through classes and training is like there's got to be somebody there with the level of experience, whether current or previous, that can actually build that context to the whys. And for me, I get cerebral in that stuff, but ultimately, like I said, this is a great opportunity to get that exposure to understand how intense and arduous this stuff really truly is. And I hope they continue to build on this. And I was in my after action, I was sharing that I would love to see a week long event where it's cradle to grave from the full mission plan all the way up to the intelligence processing part at the end. And that would be some fun things to see as we kind of move into a future that's uncertain and unknown, how that stuff looks. If you guys are looking for a good hostage rescue recon class, look no further than Brave Lizard in partnership with Frontline Preparedness. I hope to see more from these guys. It was a great opportunity to partner up and see things from that perspective. It was ultimately just having fun, getting out in the desert, doing the fun things with some great people, and I look forward to doing some more of that here in the future. So stay tuned. Like I said, we're going bigger, badder, and better in 2026, expanding what it is we're doing here, touching point with some of the other organizations and communities across the country. And I think that's going to be fun to kind of dive into with me. So I hope you follow and I hope you stay tuned. We got some cool things coming up in 2026. All right, like I said, this is our last show, so not really covering too hard on topics. Like I said, I got some 2A bourbon to drink here in a minute. So keeping it short, sticking to just our international section here this week. We're looking at activities of cartels south of the border. We've covered this in the past. You've seen cartel and Sinaloa gangs using commercial over-the-counter shelf drones to deliver improvised explosive devices, so drone-based munitions. And this is kind of interesting because I'm not sure how the effectiveness of this is at the end of the day, because you're talking to, like, I don't know, whatever's made its way across from Ukraine to south of the border here. I'm not sure if we're going to see the same level of sophistication, because in Ukraine you got a lot of money that's flowing over there and a lot of technical development. You got a lot of companies out there trying to research and develop new things. I'm not so sure we're seeing that south of the border unless it's our very own CIA. However, I think we're still seeing the commercial grade equipment when it comes to drone employment. Hard to say if we're going to see the same level of sophistication in IED use over there as we've seen in Ukraine. Still, nonetheless, you're seeing the employment of technology used to wipe out dudes on the other side of the fence. Those dudes are fighting over turf. They want to maintain their trade. Things are tightening in in the Caribbean and in the Gulf of America. So that's kind of part of the strategy you can see unfold here. It looks like the Trump administration is trying to lock up the Gulf of America and the transit known commercial routes through the Caribbean and whatnot. So that's going to force pressure to use more land-based routes, and so with that comes more security, and with that comes more violence, obviously. So you're seeing this play out right in front of your eyes, and things to just take note of. I mean, there's so much out there on drones, and everyone's kind of becoming a drone expert now on social media. But I don't know if we're really quite there yet. The full effectiveness of this integration with the technology truly will be. So I'm going to continue to monitor and observe and learn and see what we can see with drone deployment, whether it be from the very low tech use of it, like you would see in Sinaloa wars, or like the high level sophistication you're seeing in Ukraine. I mean, because look, drone defense. Say what you will about drone defense, because you're still seeing low cost options being used in drone defense. Here, take for instance this town in Russia. You got this whole town covered in like netting to prevent drones from coming in and just destroying and laying waste to like Russian barracks or whatnot. But these are like some of the low cost, high effective ways of defense, and so these are just things to keep note of and put in your back pocket and kind of observe what is currently being used against drones. Like we've seen a heavy refocus on the shotgun, specialized rounds with multiple grain lead, and all these things that you'd see in shot being used for drone defense. So some of those old ideas used in a new way, I think, is very interesting. So again, you're seeing like anti-drone defense netting put up across entire towns, and I think that's something to keep mindful of, especially when you got such easy access to commercial drone technology. Even like I said, the Sinaloa cartel is using it to drop bombs on these dudes here. Again, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Like I said, last show of the year. We had a blast. I hope you stay tuned for more in 26. We got a lot of cool things coming your way. More giveaways. Hope some more giveaways. But again, don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you like what you're getting here. Obviously, comment. Let me know how I can make the show better. And yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Give the thanks that's due. Thank all the people, all the things, and all the stuff that's come along your way. Have some gratitude. If we all exercise a little bit more of that, I think we'd see a little less violence in our communities. But stay prepared, stay sharp, stay cold and frosty, baby, because it's a dangerous world out there. But I'm out of here, guys. I got some bourbon to drink, so you guys have fun, have a great weekend, and I'll see you in 26, baby. Leaving Utah, and there's a rainbow shining over Brave Lizard and Frontier Line Preparedness, their range. Isn't that something? Check that out. Beautiful rainbow. That's a good sign. All right, Utah. Thank you so much for your hospitality. I had a great time.